Architect Olalekun. I belong in the protocol department. In fact, with every sense of humility, I humbly head my church protocol department. But you know what? Protocols are very important for people not to just bungle processes. But you don't have to make it seem as if you're putting a camel through the eye of the needle. Another message from Kewalansky, listening in from Delta. It says, I want to disagree that whoever gets to power by hook or crook is of God. Yes, you can disagree. Devil gets power too.
Yes, sir.
Are we saying that a child who grows up to be a thief just because he succeeded, does that mean it is because God is with him? This is the reason why we allow illegalities, malpractices, etc. Because we believe God made it so.
God knows about it.
That is why we have individuals who are bigger than institutions. Even men of God are afraid of presidents. Not at all, Sha. But listen, I think these our friends didn't quite get what you were saying.
Yes, he didn't get it.
If God allows you people to make the right choice and you choose the other way,
he
leaves you to
he leaves you to it.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let me come. I've read out legitimate controversies, but right now, Oloni, it's time for us to take a commercial break. Let me do this. I'll be back, please. Yes.
Box 91.3.
Just please. A moment.
Mr. Kunu, Jeremiah what again?
Jeremiah 18.
Jeremiah 18. Jeremiah, no more confess.
The
man is not getting. He's not
Jeremiah
getting
18.
it.
Jeremiah chapter 18. 18, 7 to 10. So I'll go.
Èèyàn tẹ́ bá yàn síbẹ̀ ni òun lọ́lọ́run máa ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú. Tẹ́ bá jí lénìí. No, tẹ́ bá jí lénìí.
Kan wà jẹ́ pa situation tá wà ń sìn.
Mò ń bọ̀.
Ṣé nǹkan tá yàn ni?
Nǹkan tẹ́yàn kọ́. Mò ń bọ̀. Nǹkan tẹ́yìn kan yàn kọ́. Nǹkan táwọn kan yàn ni. Ìgbà tó ti débẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ majority kan ní issue. Ọ̀rọ̀ majority kan ní issue. Nǹkan tẹ́yàn. Nǹkan tẹ́yìn fẹ́ yàn. Òun kọ́ ló yàn. Okay, fine. But in as much tó bá ti débẹ̀, ẹni tọ́lọ́run máa bá ṣiṣẹ́ nìyẹn. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́yàn tẹ́ bá dìde tẹ́ bá sọ pé irọ́ o ẹni tá yàn kọ́ nìyí o tẹ́ tún dúró tẹ́ yí gbogbo ẹ̀ padà. God.
I want to go back.
So ultimately, what I'm saying is the choice is in the hands of man, not God.
Let me go
when
back.
it comes to politics.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
All right, we're back. It's a program, of course. This is Lagos Talks 91.3. Tiny Talking Billionaire. Well, that song had to come in because the motivations are different. Some people set up churches to do quick fixes. Some people set up churches because they were instructed to. I've been at a place where a pastor was telling a young man who wants to go into ministry that have you asked clearly? And God says, go into it. And he was saying he wanted to. Months later, I saw the young man. He didn't go into ministry, but he still wasn't doing well for himself. And the man told him, ministry is what you hear from God before yourself. Now, let me come to you. There's a scripture here. The instant I speak concerning a nation, I'm reading from Jeremiah 18, 7 to 10, and concerning a kingdom to pluck up, to pull down, and to destroy it. If that nation against whom I've spoken turns from its evil, I will relent of the disaster that I thought to bring upon it. And the instant I speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom to build and to plant, if it does evil in my sight so that it does not obey my voice, then I will relent concerning the good with which I said I would benefit it. That has a connection to the name that you talked about.
Yeah.
So let me come to you, Leonie. How could we actually create a balance? Well, we're switching to our next conversation shortly. How do we now switch? Because many young persons, as I've seen, are beginning to turn their minds towards this God self. We see a lot of them come to church. Some I've seen people go to church in shorts that I call improper dressing because you won't go to a dinner wearing almost bikini. So I'm saying here that why is it that people are becoming more brazen? How really can we create a balance and thought and approach when it actually comes to your demography, as it were?
Yes, sir. Thank you again. I'm going to come from a slightly different angle from where the Archbishop, came from.
Yeah.
The Archbishop says, there's, and of course, Olajide thinks the same, that, there's always going to be, this collaboration, that it's going to be interwoven, religion and politics. And for a fact, it is, everywhere across the world, whether it's in Asia or America, in Europe, you see their politics, tied in some way sometimes to religion. In some instances, they even proclaim that the entire country is of a particular religious sect, right? So you would really never separate religion, leadership, and politics. However, I believe strongly that the millennials and Gen Zs and the younger generation are able or should be able to draw the line very distinctly. And I tell you, an instance where the state government or the federal government in some cases, sponsor people for Hajj or pilgrimages, right? You put such things in politics. In some places, in some instances, the government approves, both at the national and at the state level.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely disgraceful. And it should not be permitted.
Your opinion?
Absolutely. Because if you do that for the Christians and you do that for the Muslims, so what happens to the atheists? What happens to the Buddhists? We have Buddhists, we have traditional idol worshippers. Nigeria, for instance, or Africa, has traditional African religions.
Shouldn't we ask where they are headquartered so that people can make pilgrimages?
People make pilgrimages to those places.
But here, sir,
people make pilgrimages.
But to ask, atheists don't believe in anything.
I'm just saying.
What pilgrimages do they go to?
They go to pilgrimages.
They are yet to figure it out.
To figure it out. They are trying to figure in
so
having.
we cannot cater to them if they don't even know where they are going to.
As a matter of fact, I believe that the traditionalists should have an holiday like the Christians, Muslims do have.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm sorry to say it,
now,
but
you see
you
what
don't have to be sorry.
that's just it.
That's striking a balance.
Because some people might think, oh, is he not an archbishop? Why will he think like that?
No. This is an intelligent
Mr. Kunu,
conversation. Yes,
this is exactly what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
so I ask you a question. Do you believe in that?
I asked a question.
Do I believe?
Do you believe in that? Since you want them to have like maybe of course a national day set out.
Adebayo,
And let's be
He's the one in charge.
that is my guess. You can't ask my.
Mr. Kunu,
You can't ask my guess the question.
this is why I am saying that
Yeah.
you should know where to draw the lines, because if you give this inch by inch allowance, right, for religion to
Spiral
creep
out.
into our politics, you will end up having something that is a disaster, like we're almost having. Mr. Gunnar, I am being very serious. If you know what they spend to sponsor pilgrims on these things, it's an avenue for pure fraud, Mr. Kunu. So I am saying that even though religion is only support, and I think that that's where my generation comes in. We believe, or I believe, that this religion is supposed to be a guide. It's supposed to help us have a modicum of integrity. You have, it just guides you to be a good person. The people that have stolen our billions, Mr. Kunu, are of a particular religion. Are you telling me that in their places of religions where they worship, they have not been told that pilfering, stealing, lying, broad daylight smuggling of our crude oil, selling things and not remitting monies, are these things permitted by the religion? Do you then steal these monies? Do you then kill these people and still go on to pay zakat and still go on to pay tithe? Do you think that the God that you pray to help you supply all your needs according to his riches in glory, would have so glorified you to allow you to steal the health budget of an entire country, and then you go back to church to pay tithes.
Well,
So
yeah.
my point is, there is a clear distinction. Religion should stay in religion. Politics should stay in politics. What religion should do is guide our characters, mold us, forge us into people of impeccable characters, such that our A is our A and our B is... We have what you would call candor. So bring candor, bring integrity from your religion into politics and display. And I'm not sorry to say this, we've had people who've done excellently very well in this very particular, like you have the likes of the bishop in Sokoto doing fantastic work, you know, even though he's a religious person. We have the likes of late Dr. Dora Akunyili doing, you know, yes, Archbishop Kuka, you know, doing fantastic jobs, you know, even though they're being religious. We've had people who are, you know, Muslims who are of impeccable integrity running this country and doing it. We've had presidents who are Muslims in this country who, when they were supposed to take their holidays and leave, went back to their village to take their holidays because they don't want to waste our food. These are the kind of people we're talking about.
All right, let me switch gears to Jide Adebayo, because this conversation is, you know, going the other way. We still have to talk about the recent developments as an exclusive from the Tribune, and also an information by the spokesperson of the DSS, Mr. Funaya, regarding campaign of calumny. We will definitely look at those, but in the first place, I need to put this out, that the Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board in Nigerian Federal Capital Territory has been allocated a total of 3,520 seats for the 2023 Hajj by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. I'm trying to look at the figures for that, because this is not a recent story. It's a story 4 months ago. And don't forget, we have the big Muslim festival coming up. So let's not forget, the prophecies are often with Christian leaders, but we're looking at religion in its generality. So, Jide Adebayo, Oloni was talking about complete ban on anything that has to do with government sponsorship of pilgrimage. Do you not think that that is some kind of incentive for the people to actually know that government is working towards the enhancement of their spiritual lives?
Okay, so thank you for your question. So in that regard, I mean, I would like to disagree with him. So he gave a simple example about tithing. Say maybe someone, a politician goes to steal money allocated for everybody and comes back to tithe. The first question is that the pastor, prophet, Islamic leader, whoever it is, the person is not privy into how everybody makes money. So the question is not the pastor's responsibility to question everybody that brings tithes and ask them, oh, how did you get this tithe that you brought? As a matter of fact, it's his responsibility to pray for you. So if I understand very well, but it's true.
Don't be me the talk.
I can get more.
No, sir. Please bring our friend close to the mic, because so that the owner of these statements will take responsibility. Please, he needs to move close to your mic so that, please, you need to take responsibility for what I've just said. Say it again.
Okay, so I was just basically explaining that the priests themselves, the pastors, the Christian leaders, the Muslim leaders, when you are paying that tithe, that 1/10 that you're paying to them, they don't know how you made it. Nobody, I mean, no pastor can tell me that you know how all your congregation makes their money. But of course, when they pay their tithe, it is your responsibility to bless that tithe.
Oh, yes.
And pray that that tithe will multiply for them. Sir, I mean, sir, is that not what's supposed to happen? So in that regard, if somebody comes and drops 20 billion as tithe in my church, please, they should call that person for me. I want to pray more prayer for him so that he will get more. The question we should be asking ourselves, however, is when these people are done stealing, which are the politicians now, not the tithes now. There are occasions where you see religious
Tax
leaders.
evaders also steal.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. There are situations where you see leaders, for example, and I don't want to mention any names, bring these people out, for like national congresses, in like religious gatherings, and pray for them. and bless them openly.
Yeah, of course.
That is wrong. That is what you should question.
We have fake bishops.
Because what you are doing right there, is you are endorsing them. So if, for example, you come to, there's a church that has the largest gathering of people at one standing, and sometimes some presidents go there. So if you go there and the pastor, and you knew that the pastor puts his head on you, he lays his hand on you and prays for you, what's he doing indirectly? He's recommending you for the job.
The scripture so say, judge not, so that you will not be judged.
But it's clear to everybody this person has stolen. But there's track record from the past. There's facts from the past.
Anyway, we are just engaging in this conversation. It doesn't mean a disrespect to your opinion, but what we do is we expand discussion on the program. Let me read a message, then we'll come back to the second part of our discussion. Topsy Jojo at Toybe got married days ago. Happy Father's Day to all of you. That's what he said here. Responsible men all over the world. Now, let me tell you something that I saw. I saw two posts from my friends on Facebook where they say, one of them have a video of a woman who, single-handedly raised the son, and the boy bought the mother a house. And what happened was, the boy said the mom was the only one who raised him. And even when he invited the mother to come see the house, that she thought the house was for him. The mother never knew that he actually did that. That's one. Then I also saw another of my friends who posted that we should also praise women who raise men. And I told them one thing. We can always praise women who single-handedly raise their children. We do not often know the stories behind people's divorces or separation. And that is why even if you divorce and all that, or you're separated from your spouse, your children cannot have the right to seek sides. Some things will never be known to you. That's a fact of the matter. You could be obvious to you that maybe your dad is the one that's not responsible, but the full details of every separation and divorce is only known to the two parties who contracted the relationship ab initio. So I always encourage people, don't judge your dad, don't judge your mom. You may not be happy, obviously, but you cannot always want to take sides. Why have I said that? I told my friends who posted about women who took care of their sons that they must understand one thing. Today is for men, biological men.
Simple.
It is not for a woman who took care of them. No, we recognize them. In fact, we can celebrate those
Mother's Day,
Mothering Sunday. Those people mothering fathered their children both ways. If there's any word like that,
there is no word like that.
So I have mother fathered. The mother fathered.
As a matter of fact, the moment you're talking of mother fathering, it's like you are abusing.
Okay. So what I want to say is,
stay your lane.
Yeah. So I have corrected them, and I know that they are going to have some harsh replies for me. Even if your mom single-handedly raised you, today is Father's Day.
Yes, sir.
And you should tell your children to appreciate their father.
And this is it. This is why many don't even get it. It's a needful aside.
Yeah.
Even if she raised you, that man's sperm produced you. The definition of fatherhood and daddyhood and manhood is that the foundation of the seed produced you from a man. So I think that concept is needful. I correct them. I know they have harsh replies for me. One of them is a lawyer. One of them is good with figures. But I am saying that for everybody, we respect your mom. We give kudos to her for raising you as a single parent. But today is for biological father, from the one who gave birth to you and maybe disappeared with another woman. The privilege, don't forget, many people in abortion, many people in miscarriage. But you were produced by a man. Honor the fact that the seed produced you. That is the reality.
We already have multiple Mothers Day in a year.
They can even keep
this, and it's just right after.
This is it. They can keep 10 days. They can keep 10 days for women. We know that women have such privileges. They are meant to be treated that way. But a day for men, please don't corrupt it with misconceptions. It's key. Now let's go to this. There's an exclusive in the Tribune where we'll learn that no fewer than 18 Ghana must go bags containing money and documents have been carted away by the operatives of the Department of State Services from the residence of the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. According to this story, the Nigerian Tribune has been reliably informed. We hear that it was gathered that the money and the documents were taken from the Lagos residence of Emefiele on Friday afternoon, because this story came up yesterday, about a day-long search of the property. So they won't tell you where they got the 18 Ghana must go back. And you can be sure that the Ghana must go back may not actually be the smallest size of Ghana must go. Emefiele was arrested June 10th and spent 8 days in the custody of the agency. This story goes further that it was scooped that Emefiele may spend longer than earlier reported in DSS custody, as investigation into his activities while in charge of the Apex Bank is far from being concluded. Furthermore, Nigeria